welcome to another episode of the Heart Next Door podcast. So excited to share space with you all today, and I have a phenomenal guest who I'm really just so enthused and excited. I love her energy, I love her presence and her mission, and so I know you guys are going to love her too. Welcome, Reanna Wimberly. How are you?
Thank you so much. I'm doing wonderful today. How are you?
I'm doing great. So excited. So I'm just going to read your bio so that people have a little bit of insight and a little bit of background into who you are. Reanna Wimberly is an ecotherapy facilitator and the founder of Reconnect2Reawaken. She is a holistic health enthusiast of over 10 years. Having indigenous heritage, her childhood was sprinkled with memories of being close to nature and taking lessons from nature. It wasn't until she became an adult and took on the modern corporate lifestyle that she became aware of how imperative nature was to her mental health. As a mom, her desire is to empower moms and other women to use this knowledge to transcend their current state of being. She believes that reconnecting to nature reactivates the divinity within you, while also encouraging the restoration of the planet. With so many health challenges in our society becoming a norm, teaching this knowledge to empower nurturers of the family has become her soul's purpose. What a beautiful, beautiful bio. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Tyranny, and thank you. I'm so excited to share this space with you and to engage and to converse and share energy and share knowledge and share experiences.
Yes.
I'm grateful that you have this space available as well.
Of course. And I'm just so thankful. I just wanted to share with everyone how we met. It's just such a beautiful alignment, a beautiful journey, because Dana, who was a previous guest on the podcast, we love Dana. She was hosting an event for her organization, Moms in Business, and it was canvassing with a twist, right? We painted some bags. Yours was beautiful. She had the best, the most beautiful bag there.
Aww,
she's also an artist. Sweet. That wasn't in your bio, but you are an artist.
How do you know that?
Yes, so we were at the event, and I remember you made mention of having, I think you mentioned that you had a daughter. You just had a baby. How old is your daughter?
She'll be 6 months in a few days.
Wow, yes. And so my baby girl is also, she's 6 months now, but she'll be 7 months on Monday. Okay. And so I remember just us talking about that. You also have other kids as well. I think you have a son that's about the same age as my son as well, right?
Well, he's 2.
He's 2. So close, yeah.
I have a daughter who's 4 and a 12-year-old.
Yes, so you have a full house. And just in essence, if you didn't do anything else, you would already be an inspiration to us. Because to have 4 kids, yes, you are a superwoman. So I'm so excited to get some of this wisdom from you. And I remember one of the things that we really connected on was I shared with you when you mentioned that you were a nature therapy is like your calling, your work. I remember sharing with you that I read a book called Sacred Woman by Queen Afua, and that is just my understanding. That book changed my life forever. I learned a lot about just reconnecting with nature and how we as women just hold so much power, as you said in your bio, the nurturers of our family. Yes. So I just love to hear, I know you kind of alluded to it in your bio, but just about your journey to reconnect to reawaken, your journey, from, as you referenced, the corporate to this spiritual holistic space. I just love to hear more about it.
Okay, so awesome. So like I said, my childhood was sprinkled with memories of just being in nature and having nature as a teacher. So basically learning lessons in nature. My dad would often take me out and teach me about plants and, we would climb trees and things like that. So I have a few memories of things like that, but I had, a pretty normal upbringing, and so I always wanted to be a big city type girl and, the fashionista, that whole thing. So
yes, look at your boots. We can tell.
Thank you. Yes. You too, girl. Let me just say, you're killing it.
Thank you.
So by the time I was grown up and working, I was in corporate America, and I remember it was after a certain period of time, I would have to have a window seat. After a couple of months being in a job, and I had a few different corporate jobs,
Yeah.
I would have to have a window seat. And it was like, if I didn't have a window seat, I felt like I was starving for air. I felt like I was almost suffocating, like a mouse in a maze or something like that. And so that was like my first clue, but that didn't lead me to nature therapy.
Yeah.
So over time, and maybe I'll say probably about 8 years or so, after 8 years or so in corporate America, I actually started having anxiety attacks at work. And it would be nowhere else but at work. And so, life happens, so I didn't attribute it to anything in particular, but it was weird to me that it would only happen at work.
Yeah.
And also, I wasn't by the window at this point. I know that sounds weird.
No, I get it.
But that was like a telltale sign. So, like, I started using my breaks to take walks outside when I could, weather permitting, and that would kind of help ease my nerves and things like that. And often I would like escape to like the beach.
Yeah.
Or like after work, might pick my son up early from work when it was just me and him, or pick him up early from school, and we would go to the beach and just sit there for a few hours, and it literally was like therapeutic for me.
Yeah.
And I started putting things together. I didn't learn about ecotherapy still until a few years later, though. So, but I remember taking a trip with my son to California, and then we went by the beach, and I literally felt like I heard the water talking to me.
Wow.
And I felt like that was the loudest time I heard God's voice. Like, it sounded like I was hearing from God. Like, it felt like I was hearing from the Almighty. And so at that point, it was just like a trigger for me that, like, there's something.
Yeah.
There's something to this. Like, I don't know if it's just me. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Going on.
Yeah.
But it was calling to me. And so it was my calling. And so later on, like, I had come across a video about grounding. And the Clint Ober, he basically rediscovered grounding. And he wrote a book, and he had also made products that allow you to ground while indoors. But just learning about how much we used to be, of course, connected to nature, and how disconnected we are now, it was just like, it blew my mind. It was like, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense. Like, and that's when the pieces actually started coming together for me, for ecotherapy in particular.
And that's so beautiful. And I think I shared this with you, that I saw a documentary not too long ago about grounding. And it was about this family, and they had a daughter who was, as she grew up, she was like really sickly, always in the hospital. And they had like given her so many treatments and like, tried to give her so much medication, and it really wasn't working out. And then they took her to the beach, and they would start, she literally would just take her shoes off, and every day they would get her outside, and she would start walking, and it just started to heal her. And it was like miraculous, but in a sense it's not, because if you think about it, that's how we were created. Like before we had all of this, like all the electronics, everything, God, when God created us, he created us with everything that we need. So I think that's so beautiful.
Yeah, I have to get the name of that. It was a
documentary? It was a documentary, and it's on YouTube actually, and I can share it with you. I think I really think it's called Grounding, actually, if I'm not mistaken. And it was a family, and it was just it was so beautiful. And so I love that was your experience, that you had, that you were exposed to that. Even like, kudos to your parents for exposing you to that as a child. Plants, that's beautiful. I think that's so important. And I'm just curious too, how, in your perspective, especially as a mom, how do you believe that holistic therapy and ecotherapy helps, families, can help the family unit? And
Okay, so ecotherapy in particular, as you stated, we were created with our home planet. And our home planet, our home, has everything that we need, from the food to the frequencies to, the sights, the sounds, everything sensory that we experience. The only thing I believe that we probably had to worry about was the wild animals.
happy. We don't have to worry about that anymore.
But honestly, from the sun, you know, the vitamin D that we get just by sunbathing or sitting in the sun, we absorb those are vitamins.
Yeah.
When we're grounding, we are absorbing nature's frequency or electrons that are actually on the earth for us to be like. It's the science behind it is so dynamic.
Yeah.
But like there are thousands of nerves in our feet that are designed to pick up those electrons and send them throughout our body like reflexology. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
And so everything on the planet was designed for us.
Yeah.
Right? 'Cause this is our home. And so I kind of forgot the question.
No, you're good. You answered it. I was just saying, like, how can that help us as families? And specifically, I'm curious about, like, the services that you offer. Like, what does that look like? How do those help families? Yeah.
Okay. So any individual can benefit from being more in touch with nature, right? Because we've created these man-made environments that definitely have their conveniences. Technology has its conveniences. Like I definitely use technology.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not opposed to any of that, but I am opposed to pretending that we don't need our home.
Yeah.
And pretending that we shouldn't live a life that is still submerged with or immersed with nature as well. So ecotherapy involves either being out in nature or either bringing nature into your home and into your practice of being. So having plants in your home, listening to nature sounds, those things count as ecotherapy.
Yeah.
And those are things that I also used to do before I even knew about ecotherapy.
Wow.
So it can help us on a physical level, as I mentioned, from like the electrons, neurologically, things like that, physically, but also mentally. And that's more of the aspect that I teach in. I teach about the mental health aspects of reconnecting to nature because that was my experience.
Yeah.
I didn't really have any physical conditions, but mentally I experienced the healing that nature offers.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I had anxiety and I had some other things going on that I was able to. Nature was my first form of therapy.
Yeah. No, I can definitely relate to that 100%, and I'll tell you a story. So, like, for me, one of the ways, actually, when I was exposed to, through Queen Afua's book, Sacred Woman, I went to Howard, so I saw so many girls reading that book when I was in college, but I never picked it up, you know. I just always saw it, and then when I got married and I started experiencing just like some traumatic things. We had 3 miscarriages before I got pregnant with my son. And I believe, as I reflect on it, I think that I was hurt so much by the first miscarriage that I just started self-sabotaging and having so much anxiety. So, like, when I got pregnant, every time I would just, like, I just had all these negative thoughts that were just consuming me, anxiety that was consuming me, you know? And so that's when I really picked up that book and I took it seriously, and it talked specifically about, like, healing with, you know, all the elements, air, water, you know, fire and earth. And I started listening to, you know, different frequency music and started making sure that I immerse myself in nature. And I really do feel like all of those things were very critical because they helped me heal in a way that the doctors couldn't, you know, because all the doctors had to tell me was, oh, you know, we don't know what's causing it. You're fine. You know, you're healthy. But, you know, they couldn't tell me why I had those miscarriages. And I really do believe it's because I just had so much trauma and so many things, you know, stuck inside that I had to heal from. And so I think nature helped me that way. Yeah.
I believe you 100%. I believe that to be true.
Yeah, and I think that's so beautiful that it helped you through your anxiety. Do you feel like it was one specific thing? Was it like, you know, going to the beach? Did that help you? Was it like listening to, like, walk us through, like, what exactly did you do during that time to help you heal?
It was a collection of things. So when I didn't know about it, when I didn't know how it was helping me, I would go and sit by the beach, and I feel like it was just the sunshine the, just kind of like being free or feeling free, feeling the sand on my feet, like things like that were the grounding part of it. Like that definitely did help me. Listening to nature sounds during that time was able to help me just not think so much, like not overthink, not ruminate so much about what I was going through, because I know exactly what you're talking about. And so it's like when you experience that loss, and especially before you have children, it feels like it's something wrong.
Right, exactly.
Like, what am I not getting right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Almost, it could even feel like, am I being punished? Like, you know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you mean.
So, that I did those things before I was being intentional about it. But once I started being intentional about it, it became gardening, and it became purchasing grounding products for when I'm not able to be outside, and again, listening to the high frequency music, things like that. Instead, not just the nature sounds, but also like high frequency music, sound therapy type things, and making sure I was eating more whole and healthy foods. Like those were my intentional things that to me were all nature bound.
I love that. And so can you tell us more, for people who don't really know about like sound therapy and what that looks like, can you just describe that? People who don't know really about like frequencies, can you talk us to that?
So sound therapy is using sound, obviously, to heal. And so the idea behind that is that we're all vibrational beings, and everything is made with vibration. So we all have a frequency. We can kind of be out of tune, like music, and there are certain frequencies that we resonate better at, or that are healthier for us as a being. So like when you say high vibrational or high frequency, that's the goal, right? The highest frequency is love. And so when you feel love, you're like at your highest frequency. And so that helps with physically, that helps you physically, that helps you emotionally, and spiritually and mentally, I believe that helps you in all those planes. But using sound and frequency to help raise your vibration, basically. So that can be through a series of different instruments, or there are ways to do it, kind of digitally. They have ways to do like vibrational music.
And so if somebody was to, interested in the services that you offer through Reconnect to Reawaken, if they were interested in the sound therapy component, would you like walk them through what that looks like, or what exactly like would you be able to offer?
More so right now, I am working on actually recording sound therapy music to have available to the public to just go and listen to. But also sound, basically music therapy, kind of like, I don't want to say parties, but like events that I would hold and actually play these instruments live, and
I love that.
Affect the field for people, so that they could experience that resonance and experience a form of healing.
Because I can't tell you how many times I listen to those kind of videos on YouTube. And didn't like Janae Aiko did a concert like with just the sound therapy.
She sure did. And I think she started making like baby white noise music too.
Really?
I remember seeing like a video like that before, but I'm like, this is my sister from across the country. Like we kind of be on the same stuff. It seems like to me, but I'm like, wow.
No, that was so beautiful. I love that.
It is.
That's so beautiful.
And so, like, when I came across, like, I had started researching that probably late 2017, 2018. I had started researching, music for medicinal purposes, and had found out that they are actually using music in, like, hospitals and cancer wards and stuff to kind of, like, to, again, help raise people's vibration. Because when you're in a hospital setting, like, I don't know about you, but I hate being in hospitals.
Me too.
When you're in a hospital, it's almost like you feel sick. you're
Yes.
overcome with
Yes.
the
Yes.
sixth spirit or
Yes.
something like that.
I know
And
exactly
so
what you mean.
people who are trying to heal in there, it's difficult.
Yeah. No,
when
very
you're looking
difficult.
at white walls and when you that smell.
Yes, it's everything.
It's
just
everything, right?
Mhm.
So they have people specialists who would come in and play more classical music sometimes, but still it was like a version of sound therapy. And when I found that out again, I was just like, wow, this is like a calling or something.
Yes.
Because like I've always been musical as well. I'm a singer and like I used to sing with bands and stuff like that. So like it's just again, everything connecting, and that's why I feel like, oh my God. Like,
yeah,
you know?
no, seriously, because that means your voice is an instrument to help people. That's so beautiful. And I love what you said. I never heard that before. You said the highest frequency is love, and I never heard that, and I think that's so beautiful because I truly believe like that's what God is love, you know. So to experience that, I think that just, to me, that just encapsulates how important it is for us to have that, right? For us to be, I think the world would be so much better if we were all vibrating at that frequency.
Exactly.
Love, yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I love that. So can you tell us some of like, what are some of the misconceptions that people have about like holistic, you know, holistic therapy, ecotherapy, holistic health?
Well, excuse me, I don't know about ecotherapy in particular, but like I think herbal solutions and things, I feel like some people view that as like witchcraft or just, you know, maybe too spiritually wayward, you know, because people are brought up believing all sorts of things.
Yeah.
And I personally feel like society has kind of demonized natural and holistic practices.
No, I agree. I think it's getting better, kind of.
It's getting better, for
There
sure.
are a lot of people today who are, I feel like, attuning more. We're realizing how important it all is. But I do agree. And it's really crazy because, first of all, I could go on and on. I feel like we live in such a consumerist-driven society where, of course, they want us to be geared towards, you know, medicine as opposed to getting the free, you know, healing that we have in nature, right? So that's a very, very interesting discussion, I feel like, especially when we talk about misconceptions about, you know, herbal medicine and holistic healing. I think that it's just something that I feel like is so unfortunate because I think that if we were to really be more open to that, because clearly we live in a world where we've suffered, like, people are sicker than they've ever been. We're lonelier than we've ever been. We have so many, as a society, you know, like humanity is just suffering in so many ways. So, I think that's why I think it's so beautiful. I was excited to have you on here because I think we need more conversations, more people like you who are encouraging people to get in touch with nature because I think that's how we all can heal. Yeah.
And I appreciate that so much. But that's why I'm doing this. And that's why I was excited to come and speak with you as well because I think what you're doing is especially important. But my message is for people like you and people like me. And letting us know that, hey, I'm letting you know if you didn't know. You have the power to take your health into your own hands and be accountable for it, more so than maybe you thought you could.
Yes. And I think that I love, too, what you said in your bio, you know, that moms were like the nurturers of our family. And even what you just said, too, about us having more power than we realize. Like, that's actually an affirmation that I quote from that Sacred Woman book every morning. And she says, as a woman, I am not powerless. I am most powerful. It is my birthright. It's my divine right to heal myself and my family, right? And this is so beautiful. And that's like exactly what, right? The first time I read that, I cried. That whole book just like, because I feel like we don't realize, I don't know why, like as moms, especially today in our community, Black women, I feel like if we only knew how powerful we all are, you know, I think that when we get back in touch with that, I think that we can really just heal not only ourselves, but our families, our community, right? And that's what's most important. That's what's most important for sure. So I'm curious, if when we talk about moms, what are your favorite remedies and like recommendations for moms who are in like the maternal, either pregnant or postpartum? What are some things that we can do to heal?
Well, first, if I can, I just want to hit on what you were saying last.
Yes, please, please.
To your point specifically, historically, we were closer to nature and we knew the secrets or, the herbal remedies and the plants to use and the frequent, like to put our bare feet in the earth. Like we knew those things. We knew to get sunlight. We knew to get fresh oxygen. We knew all of those things. So it is a coming back to.
Yes.
And so that's
reawaken, reconnect to reawaken.
You feel me?
Yes, I feel you.
But yeah, so that's exactly right. You're exactly right. And again, that's a whole part of this purpose is to help us come back to the knowing that we got this.
Yeah.
And God got us as well. So
I love that. So then tell us, for pregnant moms or moms who are postpartum, what are some things that we should, or your favorite like recommendations for women who are in that season of motherhood?
Okay. So first, have you heard of hypnobirthing?
Yes, I did. My friend recommended that I take because I wanted to have a water birth with my son, actually. We never talked about this, but I had it all planned out. I was going because I had those miscarriages before him, right? So I was like, I don't want to be in a cold environment where I feel like I'm just a number. They couldn't even help me through my miscarriages. It was just like I just had to be in and out at the appointments. I didn't like that, so I was like, let me go through, a natural birthing center. And I was taking classes, was all ready, had the water birth all planned. Then I get to 7-8 months pregnant. He's breached. He's not turning around. So, I had to have a C-section, which I'm thankful he's healthy. Both my babies are healthy. I'm very thankful. But, yes, my friend recommended hypnobirthing to me. So I listened to a couple classes. But for those who are not familiar, please share.
So hypnobirthing is like basically a holistic way of just naturally having your baby.
Yeah.
And it's kind of about taking the misconceptions out of how we do birth now in Western society, which is in a hospital.
Yes.
Which is typically lying flat on a bed, which works against our bodies and gravity, which is typically surgically invasive or medicinal when it might not need to be, and kind of like you said, trying to get you in and out.
Yeah.
So hypnobirthing teaches us again to go back to kind of our natural way of birthing, because our bodies are built to birth our babies.
Yeah.
And though sometimes there may be issues or things that we might need help with from a professional or someone who could oversee the birthing process, that belief has been stripped of us based on what we see on TV, based on other people's horror stories, based on, again, I don't want to say like the chopping block, but just based on how they do
way to
things.
put it,
And so it's like we no longer think we can have a baby without being in a hospital. And again, I'm not trying to speak against medicine.
Of course
medicine
not.
is good for
Yeah.
a lot of things.
Definitely.
Professionals, I appreciate you. You helped me countless times.
Yes,
okay?
me too.
But as someone put it to me, when you go to a hospital, they're trained in intervention. They're not there to sit back and let you birth your baby. And so that's kind of like the whole idea behind hypnobirthing is you can do this by yourself. So you retrain your subconscious mind.
Yes.
And then you also prepare your body with exercises, with the way that you eat, with certain postures and massages. And there are, again, reflex points that help you prepare for labor and things like that. So it's like a whole birthing education around natural birth, basically. And so that is like my go-to because that allowed me to have 2 of my children naturally, vaginally, no medication.
Wow.
So I actually induced my son using a breast pump.
Are you serious?
I am serious. In
what?
the hospital. I was in the
Tell
hospital.
us the story. Wow.
Because so my first childbirth was traumatic as well.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. He was almost 10 pounds.
10?
He was 9.6. He was 9.6.
Oh,
He was 2 weeks overdue, but he wasn't coming out.
Oh, wow.
And I feel like that was just me not letting him come out because mentally I wasn't prepared to birth him. And so I did have an epidural with him. The birth process, I mean, my labor was excruciating. And
I can only imagine.
he sustained an injury and I sustained an injury. So he had like a shoulder dystocia where there was a nerve stretched between his neck and shoulder based on how he was pulled out because his shoulders were stuck in my pelvis.
Oh.
My pelvis popped open. I couldn't walk for 3 months after having him. And I was in a wheelchair after giving birth to him. After he came out of my birth canal, yes, I was in a wheelchair for 3 months. I could not walk. I was stuck on the couch.
Oh, so after your newborn. Oh my God. Wow, you're so strong.
Oh, sometimes, like when I go back there mentally, because I don't always do that, it still brings up a lot of emotion.
For sure.
I feel like, again, that was something that I didn't fully heal from. Like, you know, like I didn't go to anybody about that. So.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm just so thankful, you know, that even in the midst of all of that trauma, that you are still here, you know, that he's still here. Because that's one of the things that kind of pushed me on this journey is I had a traumatic birth, as I shared with you, with my daughter. And in that, I just realized, like, I remember coming home from the hospital just overwhelmed with so much emotion because even the idea of my family going home without me, had I not made it, you know, was just, like, unbearable to think about. So, and there's so many moms and babies, especially black moms and black babies who die too soon because of, you know, birth and pregnancy-related complications. So I'm just so thankful that you're here and you're using, you know, your experience to inspire and help other women heal. That's so beautiful.
Thank you.
Of course.
You too, 100%. Don't cry.
I know, right? All right, let's hold it together.
It's okay if you do cry. But I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I empathize with you as well, you know. So, again, I have 4, so gladly, unfortunately, my next 2, I was able to have them vaginally with the help of hypnobirthing and things like that.
Wow.
And no epidural.
Wow.
No pain medication.
Wow.
And so I would recommend that.
Yeah.
I would also recommend grounding because I do believe that the indoor grounding products that I used helped me not need pain medication.
Oh, that's great. Wow. Because I was just about to say, what do we do if we live in Detroit and it's cold outside and we can't ground?
No, so the products that I actually do have an affiliation with them, but it's earthing.com. And so the creator of the products, his name is Clint Ober, and he's the original like researcher or the person that I told you that I first came across grounding with. So he has created these amazing products that I 100% work. They help you ground while you're indoors. You can, like, I have the bed mat, so I sleep grounding every night. And so it's like I love grounding because the more you're connected to nature frequency, the more you're healing. Like, it's like I want like a build up. Like it's the more you do it, the better.
No, that makes sense. And I definitely
can tell you all about it.
Yeah. Thank you for those recommendations. We'll definitely have to check those out, and I'll also make sure they're included in the show notes so everybody can see those too. And then I just want to ask you, of course, I know I can sit here and talk to you all day about ecotherapy and grounding and nature, but I'm curious if you could give, you know, somebody, especially people who may have been like skeptical to holistic or, you know, like herbal, all these things that we've been talking about. If you could give one key takeaway or one key message to, you know, people so that they can take away from this experience in our conversation, what would it be?
My main message for people is, again, that you should take accountability for your health. I want to empower you to seek solutions that work best for you. I love natural remedies and holistic remedies, and I know for a fact that anything that we could need is here and available to us.
Definitely.
So I want to empower people to take the journey of not just listening to what I say, but doing your own research, seeing what works for you, and creating your most healthy self. That's what I want for people.
That's beautiful, and I think that is a very noble and important cause, because, like you said, we need to take accountability because each of us have our own individual journey, right? And so I think that's beautiful. I love that, and I want you to just share, where can everybody connect with you if they want to learn more about you and your services?
Yes, absolutely. So my website is reconnect2Reawaken.com. I am on Instagram and Facebook at reconnect2Reawaken. I'm on Audible and iTunes. My book that I wrote, Reconnect2Reawaken, is on Audible and iTunes as well as Amazon Kindle.
Awesome, because you should have mentioned that in your bio about your book.
Sorry.
No, tell us, what is the book about? No, tell us. In a nutshell.
The book is about basically disconnecting from technology and our modern lifestyle to reconnect to nature. It's called Reconnect2Reawaken.
Okay.
But it's about how reconnecting to nature helps you and improves your vitality and improves your health. It does talk a little bit about what I call the great disconnect, which is us moving away from nature. But it's more just about, like I said, putting the tools of health into your own hands.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well,
Thank you.
you all heard it here. We
you
are
so
so
much for
thankful.
having me,
Of course.
Tierney.
Of course. Of course. Love you. And I am so excited for us to be able to connect. And, of course, we'll make sure everybody has all your resources. And thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll see you next time on The Heart Next Door. Bye.